We are continuing our bust and breakouts of the year segment
right.
with the tight end position. That's right. It's the last video we'll make on this series. Let's talk about the bust at the tight end position and the breakouts. The guy who broke all expectations, had really good years. So start with breakouts, Badaki. Who was your first breakout at the tight end position?
Yeah, and it was Dalton Schultz. You know, he essentially went undrafted. His ADP was tight end 33. Finished as tight end 3.
Yeah.
No one expected it. I think everyone thought, obviously
That's impressive.
the Blake Jarwins, he was like, Blake Jarwins can have a sneaky year, even though
even like CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. Everyone thought the targets would be dominated
somebody
by
else.
those guys.
Yeah, but in 2021, 78 receptions out of 104 targets. That's a lot.
Yeah,
okay,
it's impressive.
808 receiving yards, 8 total touchdowns. Look, once again, no one expected this from Dalton Schultz. I think I was saying Zach in the season, Zach, Dalton Schultz. I might trade away one of my high tight ends and try to get a Dalton Schultz. I'm like,
I wasn't on board. I really thought they would have utilized CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper more. So next year, where will he go in redraft leagues? What are we looking at Dalton Schultz next year? What are we expecting from him?
Look, I mean, in mock drafts right now in our redraft channel, a lot of people have been taking him 4, 5, 6. I still think it's too high. I'm waiting until the 9th, maybe see where he can go, the 8, 9, 10 round around there, because if I can get a guy in those late rounds, especially a tight end position, I'm happy with that. I really am.
You definitely want to draft a tight end. If you're not going elite tight end, you want to draft them late to try and get value instead of drafting them at their absolute ceiling. So I'm on board there. And I think he's a free agent, by the way.
Yeah, he can go somewhere else as well.
He probably stays. I mean, it's such a good connection, but who knows? Will they keep him? I'm sure Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb probably wouldn't mind him moving on if they can get more targets. All right, our next breakout of the year at the tight end position is Dawson Knox.
Come on.
He was drafted as the tight end 34, pretty much undrafted. No one was talking about Knox before the season. I think we made one video just like, hey, look out, a side eye.
Yeah.
Look out for Dawson, but no one was super high on him. Finished as a tight end 11, surprised a lot of people. Really became Josh Allen's favorite end zone target. Yeah. At some point, he just kind of transitioned to be that. In 2021, he had 49 receptions, 587 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Let's keep in mind that he did miss a couple games because of that injury. I believe it was a broken hand. So going into next year, Dawson Knox, I almost feel better about him than someone like Dalton Schultz because he's going later in mocks right now.
Yeah.
And I think he might have an opportunity to get more tutties.
I definitely do agree, and that's purely because of who he's connected to, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been raving about him. We saw what he did in the playoffs, and I think it's going to continue. Obviously, this offense is going to look different. Brian Daboll's no longer with them. They're going to bring in a new offensive coordinator, so we're going to see how this offense is going to continue to change year in and year out. But I do believe Dawson Knox, he's still young. I think he's 25,
he's
24 years old. So
he's very young.
There's
definitely for sure.
Yeah, definitely opportunity for Dawson Knox and Josh Allen.
All right, so who's our last breakout at the tight end position then?
Yeah, so Zach Ertz. And this is a guy that we were...
Which is funny to call him a breakout.
Yeah, he was going as tight end 17, drafted around the 3rd round, or maybe he wasn't undrafted. 13 round, depending on your drafts. But finished as tight end 5. Obviously he started with the Eagles and he gets drafted at week 5 or week 6 around there. And then I think everything just lined up. DeAndre Hopkins got hurt and... No, they were panicking. Everyone was like, shit, what are we doing? We have Zach Ertz. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
And
then, he became a necessity.
He was the guy I felt like for Kyler Murray, the safety blanket guy in the middle of the field. He was getting touchdowns. And 2021, 74 receptions, 763 yards, 5 total touchdowns. I think it's decent. I think this is something that we should look out for next year.
Do you think he's staying in Arizona?
If he stays, I think they will keep him. He's a veteran guy. He knows how to block. He
probably won't cost too much at this point.
But I don't know. I think in my opinion, if you were to draft Zach Ertz, I'm still waiting in the late round, see if he's connected to a good quarterback in Kyler Murray. And we don't know if AJ Green is going to stay. If AJ Green doesn't stay, and maybe that all those AJ Green targets transitions to Zach Ertz in some way, could be
maybe
interesting.
Rondell gets more involved. I mean, look, there's a lot of unknowns. The reality is Zach Ertz, Dawson Knox, and Dalton Schultz are all guys I think you and I would be comfortable with having them as our tight end 1 in a redraft league next year.
I agree.
But we wouldn't spinned up on what it might take. So if they're gonna have to fall to the later rounds in order for us to really consider them.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about busts this year. Darren Waller was the biggest tight end bust.
Sheesh.
Drafted as a tight end 2, finished as a tight end 17. Yes, he did miss 5 games, but honestly, as someone who owned Darren Waller, even in some of the games that he played, I felt let down, especially after week 1. What did he have, 17 targets and went crazy?
Ridiculous.
And I thought to myself, I just made the smartest move I've ever made in a draft. And then after that, it just 10-point game.
That's what hurt, though.
Game, 11-point game.
The expectation was set really high in week 1. Oh, shit, Darren Waller, 30 points. Every week, guys, we're winning. We're bah.
That's what it felt like.
It just wasn't the case.
It just didn't happen. And, he couldn't stay healthy. Had the Hunter Renfrow really became the favorite.
Yeah.
But we talked about him before, and he was actually a trade target for me in Dynasty if you're a win now team. And I think that's because I looked at his target share. If he played all of the games, he would have actually been tied. If you take his average targets per game and you add it to all the games that he missed, he would have been tied for the most targets amongst the tight ends. So I really do still believe in him next year. And I think his value is going to be much more enticing. He won't be going in the 2nd. He won't be going in the 3rd. But you could probably get Darren Waller next year in redrafts, maybe in the 5th, 6th round.
Yeah.
I think at that point, that probably becomes really good value for Darren Waller. So personally, I'm more excited about drafting him than anyone else on this list going into redraft league next year.
Yeah, in a redraft league is definitely going to be interesting. I'm still hesitant. I think I would rather if you guys have been following the channel, you know me, I would rather get a tight end in the later rounds still. I don't know if I want to take him in the 4th. Even I think 4 or 5 is still a little bit, 4, 5, 6 is still a little bit early for me. I'm still waiting for the 7th, 8th, 9th round maybe to see what type of value we can get. But our next guy on the list here, T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Wow. Tight end 6 his ADP was, finished as tight end 15. Look, obviously both Darren Waller and T.J. Hawkinson was hindered by injuries. They both missed 5 games. And I think it was also bad because of Jared Goff, to be completely honest. He had 4 games under 10 points, 8 games over 10 plus points, which was interesting. Yeah.
There was a point in the season where I think in the first 3 or 4 games, he was a tight end 1.
Yeah.
So the expectations were real high.
The expectation was there, but it was so weird because the Lions were doing terrible.
Yeah.
But TJ Hawkinson was still doing good, but then he had the game that was a goose egg. He had
a couple goose eggs, I think.
And we were like, whoa, this can't be happening as my tight end 1 here.
Yeah, so I know it's early to say, but I think you and I would probably both agree that it doesn't feel like TJ's value is going to meet where we need him to be.
No.
To draft him next year.
At this very moment, no, especially if Jared Goff stays. And now there's a lot of talks. There's too many mouths to feed. TJ, Amon-Ra. Now you have Swift in the backfield. If they draft another wide receiver, let's say they get a Treylon Burks, a Dotson, Drake London, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So,
it's a good question. Those are our busts and breakouts of the year at the tight end position. Are you drafting any of these guys next year? You believe in them? Let us know in the comments.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.